Okay guys, we're in the Quest 3 using Virtual Desktop. I'm going to be going over my own personal PCVR use with streaming. Now, I can't give Virtual Desktop enough praise, but I personally do not play my PCVR games on streaming. There's many reasons why, and I'm going to use this title, Zero Caliber, as an example. So, chief among which, in the Quest 3 at least, it does offer a load more options in Virtual Desktop now. Higher bitrate at 200 megabytes per second, 120 Hz mode from this as well. But I'm actually using an RTX 3080 Ti. I cannot use 120 Hz mode with HEVC 10-bit at any bitrate, so I'm going to have to lose the 10-bit streaming. Same with the H.264 Plus at higher bit rates. My network won't be able to do that 120 Hz and godlike. Even 200 megabytes per second HEVC 10-bit 90 Hz, I can't do that. The RTX 3080 Ti can't encode that at godlike at 90 Hz with 200 megabytes per second. So over the Pico 4, I've realistically got not much difference in Virtual Desktop settings. In fact, if I want to actually make use of high bitrate, I need to run Ultra, not godlike. So that's something to bear in mind. And it's also, the latency wise, once you start cranking up the high bit rates, as I always mention, you're going to take a hit to the latency. So I'm running around 50 milliseconds in Zero Caliber here, and I can tell you that if anyone can say they don't see compression, try Zero Caliber, start a tutorial, look at these rocks. I do not believe you can't not see the compression. It's just impossible not to see that. So in this title, I'll give a heads up anyone that's actually going to be checking this out on Virtual Desktop. Even with the beta Virtual Desktop that has a VDXR, OpenXR runtime, you cannot actually launch this game through the Games tab in Virtual Desktop. It just doesn't work. It crashes out when a Unreal Engine error. And to get this working, you need to obviously just launch it through Steam. But with that, I would suggest going into your controller bindings and setting a community binding to menu to double tap Y, because the menu button for this game is the Steam VR overlay. So you can't actually pause or do anything in this game without setting this community binding. And that means at least I can double tap the Y and bring this up. These prompts that come up, these annoying little bastard prompts on the screen, these will stop you from progressing. There's one in a minute that it actually asks you to open the menu, and you can't do that without doing that rebind. So you can't actually continue without possibly setting those controller binds. But that's game problem, not PCVR specific on VD. It's just a weird thing with the mappings on Steam. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to walk along as I see. It's always compression, and like I've said, I can't actually make this any better. Godlike at 200 megabytes per second can't do, so I can't actually use that setting on my graphics card. H.264 Plus, again, it's all a balance basically. So there's, over a Pico 4, there's realistically not much I can use on the Quest 3 compared to the Pico 4 on Virtual Desktop. It just doesn't make sense for me to choose one headset over the other. We are now at this annoying point where you can't do anything if you didn't rebind your buttons. So I'm going to double tap the Y button, go for the annoying thing it asked me to do, controls, orientation, where are we? I don't care, I just want to go back, close the menu, preferences, whatever. So over the Pico 4 anyway, visually I can push godlike at 90 Hz, 150, no problem. I can do the same in a Quest 3, so the only difference I'm getting there realistically is the lens difference. And for me personally, I would actually choose the Pico 4 despite it not having as good lenses, because the binocular overlap in the Quest 3 is just poor. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's got good edge-to-edge clarity really, because I can't actually look to the corner of the lenses with my eyes, because I can just see overlap about halfway into the line. So I'm not sure how wide this recording is going to come out. The tree over here is going to be right on the end of my right lens from my field of view. The tree is really dark, so the bush just to the left of this tree, that all the way up to the tree and what I can see to the end of the lens is dark, because the MetaQuest 3 lenses actually sort of tail off the brightness, so it is darker on the end of the lenses. There is some chromatic aberration at the very edge of the lenses. I believe that's just going to be a problem on any set of lenses, really. When you go to good edge-to-edge clarity instead of blur, you tend to see the chromatic aberration. But worse than that, the Jeep that's in front of me here, where the exhaust is coming out of that rear wheel section, I've just got a semicircle of black that I see as binocular overlap, and that's not particularly looking way off into the distance. It's just where I look around my eyes, I can always see that darkness of the binocular overlap, and you don't get that on a Pico 4. What you would have on a Pico 4 is essentially, again, using the tree right to the end of the lenses there, it would have a blurry ring, because that's just something that happens on the Pico 4 and the Quest 2. It would have the blurry ring and a tail off of sharpness. But when you focus right to the end of the lenses, there is no darkness in one eye. I mean, it's too much for me, personally. This is a headset. You need to turn your head to actually have really good clarity. You need to be looking pretty much bang on the middle, because anything in the peripheral vision is going to be dark. And when you do look out with your eyes to the peripheral vision, you then see the overlap in whatever eye you're looking in. So I'm looking to the left, which means I now see the overlap in my right eye, which is because of stereo vision. That overlap is supposed to be basically where your nose is. So suddenly I've got blackness here. Obviously, if you close one eye and see the difference and then go back into stereo, you can obviously notice what's going on. It's hard to sort of explain. That's the nature of VR. You need to really see things yourself in VR. But I've got binocular overlap and just darkness right here. So yeah, for me, that is a hard trade-off to make, because it's going backwards. The edge-to-edge clarity is sort of outweighed by that, to be honest. If I'm coming from my peak and Neutral Link, the FOV isn't as big. It's still sort of a circular from the distance I am now. Still a circular profile. If I get really close, I can see the canted displays. But from Neutral Link to the Quest 3, I actually have much more relaxing vision because of the good stereo overlap, and also much brighter edges. And of course, with the DisplayPort cable, I don't have any of this compression going on. So there's, I don't know, it's sort of one push for making high FOV at the sacrifice of overlap. That's not the way I would personally want everything to go, because the numbers you see anyway on a FOV chart are going to be completely different to everyone else claiming about FOV numbers. Is entirely dependent on your face shape, how close you are to the lenses, your IPD, especially in something with a low overlap like this. Right, let's continue on here. Menu, what's this asking me to do? Settings, game. Can I just exit this? I don't want to follow that. Right, we're going to get onto this part of the game now where it's going to tell me to climb, and this is the killer on Quest 3. Now, inside-out tracking is obviously going to suffer with anything that's outside of the tracking volume. So you're obviously not going to be able to put your hands behind your back for very long. It can quickly go over your shoulder, no problem. You can go behind your back, no problem, really quickly. You hold your hands there, it's obviously going to lose tracking. It can't see anything from the cameras. And I'm not sure if you caught what the narrator just said then. There's the skip path on my left if I'm climbing impaired. Unfortunately, this is the Quest 3's absolute downfall. This is shit. I'm going to make myself so motion sick doing this, guys. Right, so the tracking volume on a Quest 3, obviously you've lost the cameras on the top corners of the headset. So directly above you in the center, I've already lost the control. I'm only holding it up and I can still see my hand in the air. Directly above your head, obviously you've just got a massive dead zone. So I'm not sure how the Gorilla Tag players are going to get on with this, to be honest. I need to traverse across here. If I try keep myself doing a pull-up like this, that's going to be fine. But the issue is, if I start over again so I don't let go of the grip triggers, that's my bad, not the Quest 3's. if I keep myself sort of naturally acting like a monkey bar, oh dear fuck's sake, this isn't good. My hand's directly above my head. I've got a strong VR stomach, but this is what I call my Boneworks test. I'm not even making this the worst case at the moment. I'm still sort of looking up, and again, you go, oh fuck, you go above your head, and you're stuck. I mean, I'm not exactly looking down yet. My Boneworks test, and this is why I like outside-in tracking. This is just in the corner. It seems to be, no, it's still moving around saying that. It's worse when you're directly center above your head. And this obviously isn't a problem on Pico Link or Pico 4 or even Quest 2 because it has better volume directly above your head here in the center. But my Boneworks test, and it'd be a test on this as well, you have to accommodate for inside-out tracking normally. You really shouldn't have to accommodate for this. This is going to be terrible. My Boneworks test is getting a gun, hanging off a zip line or whatever. You can just be stupidly creative on Boneworks. I don't know how to get rid of this prompt. If I was looking down and shooting, obviously I'm moving my hand and I'm not moving anymore. I'm moving my hand because what's happened, because I'm looking down, that controller is now completely in predict mode. I can tilt my hand and it would have that accelerometer data, but I can't actually move my arm. I mean, I'm swinging my arm around like a bloody lasso and it's barely reacting. So, as soon as you get recovery, you got obviously a nice little jolt coming on. So for Quest 3, fucking hell, for Quest 3, I would not recommend any situations where you're having to use monkey bars. And that pulls me out of VR experiences because you just shouldn't have to think about anything like this. This isn't exactly a stress test. This is zero caliber and the training mission. So if you want to use this, I can guarantee you on the Quest 3, you're going to have much work experience getting across these bloody monkey bars than a Quest 2 or Pico 3, Near Free Link or Pico 4, whatever. Anything with those top cameras are going to do much better in this situation compared to the Quest 3. So I don't want to have to think about things when I play PCVR. I'm already having to take a little bit of sacrifice on the inside-out tracking coming from a CV1, which again, you just don't even have to think where your hands are. You just completely act normal and everything's tracked because you've obviously got external sensors. That's obviously going to be the same for anything like a Valve Index or Vive with the base stations. You don't think about things when you have to start thinking about things, and when your vision is being moved around without your active input, that makes you so motion sick. I mean, I've got a strong stomach. The combination of latency from streaming and something reacting as it does in that way is just going to make even me sick if I continue doing that. So it's really not a nice experience. I personally wouldn't have this as a trade-off headset for me on PCVR. It's just way too many things adding up, and it may seem like little gripes, but the overlap is affecting me. I haven't got stereo depth, not only from the streaming compression, but also the overlap that I have. I don't have that peripheral vision, amazing edge-to-edge clarity that is being claimed because it's actually dark on the edges. And again, I can't look around to that edge-to-edge because what I see is the overlap in my vision. It just all adds up into stuff that I don't particularly want to use this headset to play PCVR, even though Virtual Desktop itself as an application is really good, and I will absolutely vouch for that. The trade-offs with system requirements to make use of all these new features, you can't sort of work around that, I guess, is buy better hardware. But then the hardware itself on your headset for things like this, it's all trade-offs. It all seems to become trade-offs, one thing after the next. So you lose better tracking on the controllers going to inside out. Suddenly all the cameras are repositioned on the inside out headset, so this gets even worse. The wide FOV chase to get that number on the spec sheet is sort of irrelevant because you've now got worse overlap. It all just seems to be getting worse for me. And I personally just wouldn't subject myself to this to enjoy high-end PC VR. I definitely don't want to chase hardware to try and get latency down, try and get the godlike visuals, 120. It's just like it's a constant chase to get diminishing, this way beyond diminishing returns, because obviously if you just have a DisplayPort cable headset, yeah, if this had a DisplayPort cable headset, it would look so much better. I can't explain how much of a difference that will make to an actual image over VD. And not bashing VD, it does a fantastic job, but it's just the nature of streaming PCVR. Yeah, it's just way too much for me. There's too many things all adding up, and chief among which is going to be the battery, which, as you can see, I'm now 17%. I started this at 35%, I believe. It's way too much for me personally to deal with, and that's without going into all of the gripes I've got with the actual Quest 3 headset itself, of just the comfort, the weight, just the fucking faults I've got with this thing at the moment. It's just all too much for me to add in altogether to actually enjoy. So I will try one more time with a Quest 3. This is the second headset now. I'll try one more time to get a replacement headset. I don't know, the microphone on the Quest 3 is obviously bad, but it does have really aggressive noise cancellation, so you're probably not going to hear the bloody rattling I've got going on with the thumbsticks. I am clicking it close to the headset, whether that pick it up or not, I don't know. But both thumbsticks are knackered on these controls after one day, which is just bizarre. They're just rattling and floating around there, so that's going to be a drift issue eventually. And I've got Mura in this headset where I didn't have it in the last one, so it's whatever people are saying is the Mura is just expected. That's how it is. That's bollocks. That's complete bullshit. My last headset looked really, really good, especially just looking around the home environment. I could tell it was low resolution, but there was no Mura, nothing in the skies. If I look in, especially dark to bright areas, I've just got that texture following me all the time. I didn't have that in the last headset. I've got no dead pixels, but I've got Mura, or the equivalent of whatever Mura is. I'm going to have to end this headset recording now because my battery's absolutely plummeted. But yeah, I'm going to try one more time for a headset replacement, but it's not going to be my PCVR headset. You're not going to have any PCVR tips from me or settings or whatever. It's going to be basically mixed reality stuff and the Team Beef ports that are going to happen. I'm interested to follow that, and it's nice to have the headset for that. But for PCVR, I'm not upgrading my hardware anytime soon, so I can't actually make use of any of the benefits really that Virtual Desktop's offering. So yeah, for PCVR, it just doesn't make sense for me, even over a Pico 4, to be honest. Not that I use my Pico 4 on PC, so that's it. That's sort of a mini review of the Quest 3 in my own personal sort of circumstances, because I don't know what else to say. I'm not particularly fond of this headset, and I don't envision myself using it for any great deal of time. Not that I can with the battery at the moment, just because it doesn't really suit my needs all round. It's not the best all round headset for me personally. There's just way too many trade-offs. So, like always, you need to try it yourself. In my case, I know I said this on the Quest 2 lens video, buy local. So if you have an issue, you can return. Don't do what I'm doing at the minute. I did get 20% off using a website I've never used before. That's fine, that's no problem. Returned it to Meta, that's no problem. It's the time in between actually getting your headset, putting it on your head, shit, it's a bad one. Send it back. You're spending weeks at a time dealing with this RMA lottery. It's a massive pain in the ass. So buy local if you are buying, because if it's one with these dead pixels or Mura or any other issue like my weird tracking stuff, whatever, or even the controllers I've got now, it's just easier to take it back to a retail shop and just immediately exchange it. It's just a pain in the ass. It's all gone this way. I don't know what the deal is with the standalone era. Everything seems to be chucked out the door, mass production, and really bad quality, because it's just a pain in the ass to find a headset that's good first time. I don't know what the deal is with that now. At least that's my experience. So I'm going to end that video. This is going to be the last Quest 3 video for me, because really I'm not interested in troubleshooting and fixing things. It just pisses me off too much. So it's the last Quest 3 video for me. I will still have the headset. If there's anything that's absolutely interesting and worth sharing, I will share it. But I'm not going to go digging. I'm not going to go tinkering and trying to relay findings, because it's just annoying for me. So that's the video. That's my feedback. So if you were watching, thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.